Listen, y'all, this is about to be a very fun video, okay? We're going to have some fun with this video here. Somebody messaged me I think about 2 weeks ago, right? I ended up deleting this person. I blocked them actually on my Gmail. But then I thought, like, that's actually a really good video topic. So I blocked this person. I'm going to tell you why. This incense is the bomb. I was in Harlem yesterday. I had to re-up on incense. And y'all, this is how I do. Let me show you how I do. Let me show you how I do, okay? This is how I do. Yeah, I stock up, for real. I don't be playing. This is how I do. Clear out this negative energy. They try to come on my video. X y'all out. X out those beta little dick men that gonna get offended. Now let me stop. But some of y'all really do have very sensitive egos. But yeah, this is how I do, y'all. I stock up. So I went there to get some incense. I tried some different flavors. Got the purple box. I usually get rose, so that's nothing new. But I'm trying this one, this black box. It's from India. And then they gave me some bonus ones, these long ones. All right, let's get into it. Yo, so a couple weeks ago, this white man emails me, right? It's a 2-part email. Actually, he sent 2 different emails. First, he sends an email. And I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, I gotta make a video on this. He's like, I think there should be penis equity, yo. Like, he coined a whole new term. He said, I think there should be penis equity. And I definitely got what he meant when he first said it. He was like, and then he went on to talk about how he has a smaller penis and, he doesn't feel like men with smaller penises are treated fairly. Yo, I'm like, this is hilarious. This is funny to me, right? Get my blanket. And so then, like, I want to say it was the same day, right? I think it was the same day. He, like, followed up with another email. And it's a picture of him lying down. Dude, he was lying down, like, lying back in his bed, right? His penis is fully erect, but his penis is, like, very small. Little penis, y'all. I'm just like, why? I was like really repulsed. Like, this is disgusting. So that's the reason why I blocked him. I didn't block him for the first email he sent. I blocked him for the picture that he sent. Just like, that's inappropriate, right? That's disrespectful. But I think that his first email definitely holds some weight, and I'm going to talk about that here a little bit in this video. I've addressed it before, but let's create a whole separate series on this, because I think that for some people, they miss the mark. I mean, figuratively and literally, right? But some men, like, I don't think y'all quite understand. You just don't quite get it. And I want to speak from personal experience here. I think a lot of men have been misguided, have been misled by women that they have been involved with. A lot of us women be sparing men's feelings, right? If we don't like something, or if something is not to our standards, we'll just sit with it, right? Somehow women have been conditioned to not fully express their true selves, right? And really be true in their authentic self, right? Like they are designed to just appease men, satisfy men, and that's all what matters. And That is backwards. Like, that's a disservice to women. But for so many years, that's just how things have been, right? Women have been really taken on in relationships, right? Women have been made wives solely for the purpose of being in service to the man. Now listen, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with that if that is your cup of tea. Right? And that's just, some women, that's all they want to do. They just want to be submissive. They just want to be in service to the man. Like, they receive gratification off of full service to their male partner. Right? To each his own. But I think that it's something to be said about a woman who forfeits her own happiness, her own sexual satisfaction in relationships so much that she compromises herself. She overextends herself for a man who can't return the favor, who does not return the favor. Personally, can't be me. It just can't. It just cannot be me, right? But for so long and for so many women, this is their reality. And even I think about my own personal experience. I think about myself, and I'm just like, you know what? I think I've been affected by this socialization of women in our society, where, I definitely have satisficed. I have just kind of succumbed to being the stereotypical woman, not standing up for myself, right? Tolerating, subpar quality of a man in all different domains, right? And I think it comes to a point where a woman really has to come into who she truly is, stepping into herself, right? Outside of what her partner wants her to be or what society wants her to be, but just stepping into who she is inherently, stepping into getting to know herself, right? And when a woman does that, it's like, hell no. First of all, her value goes up through the roof. So it's going to be very difficult to secure her, right? It's going to be very difficult to attain her, to measure up, right? Because she knows her worth, therefore she does not have to settle, and she will not settle for less. In fact, she would rather be single than settle for something that falls short of what she wants and what she knows that she deserves. Let's kind of lay the foundation first before we get into this video so you guys can fully understand. But yes, I've made the mistake, right? And accepting below my standards. I've dealt with that. Let me give some examples, right? So I was dating this guy. He lives in New York. He's Gambian. And I've talked about this before, right? But, he has good ethics, good morals. He has good character. But he's lacking. He's lacking between his legs. And granted, our interaction with each other, it was very spiritual in the sense that, we bonded, right? And we had this chemistry. And we did the foreplay. And in fact, he was the first man that made me orgasm without penetration. Like, it wasn't even attributed to the penetration that made me orgasm. It wasn't even about the penetration. This is before penetration that I was orgasming. I was like, I didn't even know what the hell was happening to my body. Like, granted, I've experienced orgasms before, self-penetration, not penetration, but self-stimulation, right, with a vibrator. I don't penetrate myself with foreign objects at all. But with self-stimulation, with the vibrator, like clitoral stimulation, of course, I've achieved many orgasms that way, but I have never achieved an orgasm prior to this situation through penetration by a man. And even just being with a man, period, aside from penetration, just with a man, I've never experienced that. And the foreplay was very magical in the sense that obviously it started in a psychological way where, we connected. We share similar values. Him being a very religious person, spiritual person, grounded, in his Africanity, as a native born African, just very strong. Yeah. And so, like, we connected in that way. But I remember, like, when we were in each other's presence, it wasn't a rush. We didn't rush into anything, right? It was like time had stopped. Everything stopped just for us in this moment. And we were with each other, appreciating each other's presence. That shit was a turn on. That shit goes a very long way. It's just like I felt very seen. And, of course we connected physically. We were in this living room and, he was holding me. It was just like that touch, right? That physical touch and, caressing me. And I just felt very contained in his arms. And we were kissing and fondling, and it was like, it's just a touch. It's just the hands, y'all. And I've said this before, like, people often ask me, will I step outside my race, or trying to kind of solicit my interest in dating outside of my race. I'm just like, I'm not interested in that. It's just, it doesn't do it for me, right? It's nothing like a black man's hands. It's the touch, the energy transfer from his hands, his fingertips onto my body, yo. And it's like, it's very electrifying. And I'm just sitting there like, oh my gosh, yo. And like I said, this is before intercourse, right? And that happened. That went on for like maybe, oh my gosh, well over an hour, probably 2 hours. We were just on the couch and just enjoying each other's company. And then it was like, oh my gosh, I think I had been ready like 30 minutes, probably 45 minutes. Like, I was ready, like, damn, But he took his time in that way with me, just savoring every moment. And that just heightened my sensuality, right? It heightened this connection, this craving, right? Like the longer it took for us to make it to the bedroom, like the more thirsty I became, right? The more desiring I became for what was to come. And it was like a mystery because I didn't know his size. I had never seen his penis, right? But this is the exciting part about it. This is the reason why I tell guys, like, dick pics, don't do it for women. I don't know why somehow men think that women are turned on by dick pics. It doesn't do anything for me. It's not arousing at all. Like, leave something to the imagination. You know what does it? It's so semi-nude, right? It's like you're not even showing your penis, but you're showing your penis, right? Like, it's covered up. Maybe she can see like the thickness of it, right? Like in the sweatpants type of pictures, you know? You see like the shape and the girth, but not see it. You have to leave something up to the imagination. I didn't know what was between his legs, but I could only imagine. It was like the anticipation just grew and grew and grew. And we're on a couch and he's holding me and he's like gripping me with his hands, just I can feel his touch. You know, he's rubbing my back and he's caressing me and laying kisses on my neck. And of course, you know, I'm a woman. Listen, I love men. So I'm just wondering, like, damn, I'm looking, my eyes are gazing, you know, up and down his body, and my eyes just land on his manhood as I can see it protruding. He's wearing, I think, jeans at the time, and I can see his manhood rising, but it wasn't exposed. So that just increased my curiosity for what was underneath it. And I'm wondering, I'm curious, I'm craving. I could see it rising, and then, you know, of course, I couldn't resist the temptation, but to allow my hand to touch it through his pants, right? Well, on top of his pants, not like through the zip or anything. But like on top, I just wanted like feeling like, damn, it was so hard. I can feel it, right? Because like at this time, like our bodies are like almost enmeshed with each other. And I can feel his manhood, his erect manhood. Like, even though he was wearing jeans, of course, and his jeans are zipped, he's fully clothed. We're both fully clothed. This is this is it, right? Like, there's no rush to take off clothing. Both fully clothed. We're on the couch. We're caressing each other. We're embracing each other. I can feel his manhood up against my body and up against my center. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. It got to the point where it was like unbearable, right? And he knew, person can read body language. He knew, like, yo, I can't take this. This is freaking insane. Like, it's too much teasing, right? It's just like, let's just fucking get it over already, right? So I got to that point and he saw that, but I think it was more of the dance that was happening. And so then he was like, you want to come? Right? You ready? I'm like, am I fucking ready? So we went to the bedroom, yo. And like everything was just slowed down. It was just slow. It's like time had slowed. Time didn't even exist. All right, at this point. It did not exist. Nothing else in the world existed at this point. Nothing else mattered. It was just me and him. And we're on his bed. It's a big ass fucking bed, yo. And I don't remember how my clothes got off. I'm trying to remember. Did I take my clothes off? I think he took them off. That shit is even more of a turn on. You guys already know. I like that dominant energy. It's not just something unique about a man just taking off a woman's clothing. Right? But anyway, my clothes are off. And before, I think my clothes are off before his clothes came off, right? He took my clothes off. And yo, when I say I had never experienced anything like this, yo. I had a full orgasm. I am just trembling uncontrollably. Yo. My body was so electrical from my head down to my toes. And my legs, yo, my legs just could not. I was like, oh my God, yo. A fucking orgasm. And yo, we hadn't even had intercourse. Mind you, this is all leading up to that. And by this time, it's probably like 2.5 hours of this. You know, before it had even was initiated by him. You know, we started out in the living room. It's just like, oh my God. I'm like yo, looking at my body like, yo, I can't stop my legs from shaking. Like, I'm freaking having an orgasm, yo. I'm coming. You talking about, yeah, that's powerful right there. It takes a very powerful man to make a woman orgasm. It's really a mind orgasm when you think about it, yo. It's all in the mind. And so by that time, I'm just like, you know what? This is good enough for me. But of course, I wanted to see, like, damn, you know, what's down there? Like, what's that? What that shit be about, right? And so he got his clothes off. By that time, I'm already lying down. I'm ready, and he's on top of me, and he inserts himself inside of me, and it's over. Unless, yo, I cannot make this shit up. It's over in less than a minute. He came in less than, I'm like it's like the moment he stuck it in is the same moment that he came, yo. I'm just like, you talking about, yo, because, like, I mean, at this point, like, I'm imagining, like, okay, I'm already super fucking aroused, yo. I'm as wet as can be. We're talking about waterfall. Like, I am so, like, as ready as it could be, right? And then, like, I'm just only imagining, like, damn, like, what it would be like, what it's going to be like, the thrust. I'm just imagining that's what I wanted. And it didn't amount to that. I didn't get that. You're talking about the level of disappointment, not to mention, when I say this guy, yo, he had a freaking pencil dick. Pencil. I cannot make this shit up. Yo, his penis was so tiny. It kind of had like average length, right? The length was average, but the girth of it, yo, was like, and granted, I mean, he was a slim guy, but still, yo, that ain't no excuse for that. I'm just like, damn. I'm just like, damn. And I think from that, the dynamic of our relationship definitely changed, though. So when this guy messages me a couple of weeks ago, this white man, and he's talking about penis equity, which I think is a great topic, right? The term that he coined, penis equity, or equality for penises, short, small, big, long, whatever, thick, skinny, pencil, curve left, curve right, dysfunctional, impotent, erectile dysfunction, just equality for penises is a question that is raised, and I'm like, nah, bruh. Sorry. It don't work that way. And it does change. It changes things, because it's just like, okay, now I'm disappointed. On top of that, I'm frustrated. I'm sexually frustrated. And yes, I achieved something. I experienced something I had never experienced, which is like a full body orgasm without a toy, right? Without the use of a toy. But it was like, I looked at him differently. I'm just like, okay, I see why you're single. Like, everything starts to add up, you know. A lot of men, not all, of course, single men, but a lot of men are single because they are insufficient. They're inadequate, or perceived as inadequate by a woman in the bedroom. They just don't measure up. Now, of course, there's sex therapy. Of course, there's ways that could be enhanced or changed, right? And things can be done to teach a man how to not ejaculate so quickly, right? They call it the stop and squeeze method. But it's no thing that can change the size of a man's penis. Like, yeah, I know there are penis pumps, and it's funny enough because when I was younger, my cousin, yo, he had one. I'm like, yo, you crazy as shit. But he really thought that he could make his penis grow larger with this penis pump. It's like, if you don't sit your ass down somewhere, you really believed in that. I don't know. I don't buy that. I don't think that is effective at all. Because your size is your size, right? I don't think that can change. If you guys think it could change, enlighten us, okay? So that's what he had to work with, and I was like, okay, it makes sense. Like, okay, it makes sense why you're single, because it's just like, if you're dealing with a woman who likes to be dominated in every sense of the word, not just sexually, but more so psycho-spiritually. Having a pencil dick, there's nothing about having a pencil dick speaks to dominance, right? Like, you lose cool points. You may have been, let's say, at an 8 when it came to your points that you've earned in that department of dominance and submission, right? But then you pull out this penis that is the size of a fucking hot dog, literally, in terms of girth and length. It's just like, a woman is forced to look at you differently. And then I think a lot of that has to do with, like, the man's own feelings of inadequacy, right? Like, he knows that his penis is much smaller than average. So, of course, he's internalized these feelings of insecurity and inadequacy. And it shows up. It's not something you can hide. It shows up. Right? It goes to what we have been talking about, the big dick energy, right? Men with big dick energy, it is an energy force. It's a confidence, that obviously comes along with being able to back it up, right? Some people are misleading, but they walk around with big dick energy and they cannot deliver, right? It's a facade, right? So it definitely makes sense that, okay, this is what we're dealing with here. And it changed our dynamics, It's like, I still, of course, I can't even say it. I can't even say it, yo, like, without fucking stumbling on my freaking words. So clearly that's not true. I was gonna say that, of course, I still have respect for him. I mean, yes, I still have respect for him, like, in the general humane sense, right? But I didn't respect him. I didn't have reverence for him in terms of being, like, domineering, which I'm attracted to. I didn't have, like, reverence for him in that way. I was just like, oh. And it's like, when a woman doesn't have that reverence towards a man, like, she's not going to respect him. She's not going to listen. She's just not going to listen. Like, she's going to do her own thing. It's almost like being a rebellious teenager. It's just like, all right, you can't tell me what the fuck to do, I'm not going to listen to you. So that changed that. I'm thinking about another example, yo. I actually have two more examples. So I was dating this other guy where I was living out in Los Angeles. So this was a while ago. This was like in 2019. Almost 4 years ago. This was around holiday season. And he lived in New York. At the time, I was living in Los Angeles, and he wanted for us to spend time together, right, during the holidays. So this was kind of like a last minute thing, very spontaneous. She was like, I'll fly you out. And last minute tickets, especially cross country, are very expensive. So he was willing to pay for it, right? He purchased a round trip ticket. Had to definitely make sure it was round trip. He purchased a round trip ticket for me to fly out from Los Angeles to LA. And the ticket was, it was a good $1,000 roundabout. I flew out, and when I say this man went all out for you, girl, He went all out. Like what I would say was probably one of the most expensive dates I had gone on. Like he had things planned. He picked me up from the airport with a bouquet of flowers. I think they were, what is roses? I don't remember. I think it was a bouquet of like different flowers. And he had reservations for us in that evening to go to this high-end restaurant in Times Square, the Revolving Restaurant. We went there. I think it's called The View. And the reservations, he had spent, when I finally got there, right, because before we made it to the reservation wasn't until I think like 7, 8. So we still had a little window of time, and he was asking, some things you want to do. In between time, I was like, no, I'm with you, right? Like, I'm going with the flow. So he invited me to go to his office. He's a business owner. He owned an office in the financial district in Lower Manhattan. And he showed me around his office. I'm like, okay, show me, his world. Essentially invited me into his world. And I was like, okay, cool. I kind of softened my defenses a little bit. Made me feel comfortable, safe, because now I'm in his world. I know where he works, I know he's a legit person, knowing his, full name and all that. And then time came for our reservation. Went to the restaurant. And, it was really nice because I'm like, it was like a prelude to the actual main course. So, like, the first part was just like eating hors d'oeuvres and they had like this chocolate fountain and just all these finger foods at first. And then I'm like, this ain't it? I'm like, wait, I'm full at this point. But that wasn't it, right? We go to another level in the restaurant. And it was actually where we had the actual dinner and the rotating floor, candlelight dinner and all that. And I had to ask him, I was like, how much did you spend on this? He didn't want to tell me at first. I'm like, no, tell me, how much did you spend on this reservation? He spent a decent penny. I think he said like $700-800 for the both of us combined. I'm just like, okay. We took pictures and all that. I do have pictures of that on my Facebook page. So it was really nice. I was impressed, right? But then, y'all, that's not it. It's not it. So, like, that was leading up to New Year's, right? And we spent, I think, a little over a week together. I was here in New York for a little while on that vacation. And it's just like, as time progressed, I became more and more disappointed. Which, it made sense why he had to overcompensate. All right, because he went all out the first day. But then it was just like, I don't know, this is going to work. And I'll tell you guys why. It was a few things. One, he did not tell me that he had a disability. And you can't tell visibly just by looking at him, right? It's not that I shunned him because he has a disability. I felt like, listen, that's important. And the disability is important because it impacted what's the topic of this video, right? As it relates to this freaking video. It impacted his sex. He could get an erection. It's not that he could not get an erection, but it's just like his motivation, right? His mood. The disability, okay, let me tell you. So essentially, he could walk, like he had no issues walking, anything like that. But years ago when he had first moved to New York, he's from West Africa. He first moved to New York, he got hit, right? Not knowing that drivers in New York are fucking ruthless. They will hit your ass to keep going. He got hit, essentially, make a long story short. So he had an injury. And you can't tell this. Like, you can't tell. He's out, he's fully functioning. He's a business owner. He gets the bag. He has his own place. He was in the process of buying a home. He had an SUV, that he owned. Like, he's financially well off, He's dressed nice. Like, I took pictures of us, so you guys can check out those pictures in the album that I had created on Facebook. But yeah, as you know, time progressed and I got to learn more things. I'm just like, so with the disability that he had, even though he wouldn't say it's a disability, but I say it's a disability because, you know, he had pain, and then he would complain about having pain like in his back. He would have to go to get these injections like in his back. I went with him, you know. He was like, you can come if you want. I went with him to the clinic. He got to get the injection. And then it was just like the interim time, like before he was due for his next injection. And basically, I think the injection was like as needed kind of injections for pain. But it was just like he would complain of pain. He would be very lethargic. And I wasn't feeling that shit. I don't know. Like, I could be wrong, you guys. I just felt like, nah, I can't do this. He was lethargic, just very low mood, you know, low mood, low motivation. And you know, me, I'm visiting. I'm coming from LA to visit. I'm here for the holidays. And this is not something new to me. Like when I was living in Los Angeles, I would always come back every year during the holidays just to visit New York. This is home for me, right? To have fun and turn up. And I'm just like, okay, you want to lie down in bed all day? And he's just like, oh, I'm laying down tired. And I'm like, yo, if you don't get up, he's like, oh, my back, right? And with the issue with his back, it's like, okay, we did have sex. It wasn't hitting because his fucking back. It's only but so much you can do with back pain, right? And one may say, well, you're being very insensitive. It's like, no, fuck that. That's why I prefaced this video the way I did and talking about women getting her needs met and not selling for less. Fuck that shit. I'm not about to be sitting up here, line up next to no man, dissatisfied, like, you laying your ass there, like, everything is all cool, and I'm not happy, like, this is the thing, when you know there are other men out there that I could be with and get my back dug the fuck in, okay? That's all I'm saying, though. So that was that. I mean, outside of that, he was a good person. Like I said, financially stable. He's very ambitious, you know. Like he's into international business, you know, getting that bag and shit like that. He introduced me to his friends, his family, so to speak, where I went to, like, I think he called him his brother or whatever. But it's like a close friend. They had their house. He had a wife and kids, and they cooked. You know, meal for me and all of that, African dish or whatever. So I was over there, kind of in his world, in his sphere. I got a chance to meet another friend that he had grew up with back in Africa. You know, it was a woman, and we were vibing, and he was just trying to introduce me to his world. But then it was like, okay, New Year's Eve came, right? The countdown. And I'm like, I want to go out. Like, what the hell? I want to go out. This is time for us to have fun. And he's like, I think this was early in that day, though. Early in that day, he was like, yeah, my friends or my family or whatever, you know, they got this thing going, you know, you're welcome to come. It's not that he didn't want me to come. He wanted me to come. But I'm just like, yo, this is our time. Like, I came from LA here. Like, I told him, I kept saying, like, I could be back in fucking LA doing me. I came here to be with you. So this is our time. And no, I do not want to be around other people like that. That's just me. I don't want to be around your people. Because we're just getting to, it's different. Listen, if me and him was in like 6 months or in for a year or more, it will be different. I'm sure. But we are just building, getting to know each other. No, I do not want to be around all these, I don't know these motherfuckers. He wanted me around all these people just showing me around. It's like, I don't want to know. So I said no to that. He still went. I was pissed, yo. He still went, right? I think this was like earlier New Year's Eve day. I'm pretty sure. And so then the nighttime comes for the countdown. This is New York City. I'm like, yo, let's go out. you know, this motherfucker said he didn't really want to go, but he went begrudgingly. And yo, I was freaking pissed because he didn't have a plan. It was not thoroughly planned out, right? Like, I felt like it was misleading of him to, for the first day, have all this, like, immaculate freaking plan. High-end restaurant. Like, the carpet was fucking laid out the first day. And it's just like, after that, it was just like, what are we doing here? And he was like, well, maybe, you know, you're right. I should have just rescheduled it where the big to-do was New Year's Eve night, right? Possibly, right? Have something look forward to, the big to do. But then it was just like, yo, New Year's Eve. So we still ended up going out, but it was no plan. So we just out there in fucking Times Square. Bad plan, yo, bad mistake. Does anybody know New York City, fucking New Year's Eve, Times Square, it's chaotic. We ended up getting stuck down there and didn't even have anything to eat, like, because no plans. It was no plans, right? Nothing to eat. I'm hungry. We out there in the cold, waiting for this goddamn bottle truck. We couldn't leave, right? Everything is blocked off, so we in the middle of everything, middle of that shit. I was like, I'm just looking at his face like, ooh, I can just kill you right now. And I'm going off. He looking at me just like... Yo, I'm laughing because, listen, this is just who I am. This is my personality. You have to be a very strong man, because if not, yo, I will eat your ass alive. So we out there, and I remember we coming up the freaking steps, and he just looking like, oh, I don't want to be here. I want to be home. He really didn't want to be out there. I did, right? And so I'm going off. I was like, I don't want you around me. Get your, like, yo, we can go our separate ways. And he kept following behind me. I'm just like, you can go back home. I can stay out here and have fun, okay? You're ruining my night. And the more he clung, like, wanted us to spend the night together, be together, I just felt it just welling up inside of me, y'all. Right? And I'm like, listen, I don't want to sit here and make no freaking scene. You got, security tight down there, motherfucker. You got goddamn NYPD, you got National Guard, you got all these goddamn high ass fucking officials out there. They ready for some shit to go. They ready to lock a motherfucker up, right? And they looking, and I'm like raising my voice, and I'm just upset. And I kept walking away from him. I was just like, yo, the closer you come to me, the more upset I get. I to make a long story short, we got stuck out there fucking, and I was hungry, and we saw the ball drop, and after that, he was like, what do you want to eat? And I'm telling him, right, but he goes to this African restaurant and gets this goddamn piece of a bird. I don't know what kind of bird it was, but it was disgusting. It was dry, and I'm just like, I'm not feeling this, right? And I was just fucking turned off. Like, I think this is what it is. Like, the moment I get turned off by a guy, it's really nothing you can do, right? He was trying everything. It's nothing you can do. Like, I don't like you anymore. I just don't. It's not going well. And I was just disappointed with the sex, right? Not that his size was not comparable or incomparable. It was just he couldn't really perform because of the fucking back deal, And I'm just like, why didn't you tell me this? You should have told me this before I came out from Los Angeles. Now I'm all the way out here, and I'm having to deal with a person who is somewhat disabled. It's a lot, okay? It's a lot. It's a lot for me. It was a lot for me. And like I said, this was 4 years ago? Nearly 4 years ago. It's just a lot. So that didn't work. It was other stuff too. Like, I'm being nice, and I decided to do laundry, right? Because like I said, I was there for a little while, a little over a week. And before, like, anytime I travel, when I head back, I like to travel with clean clothes. I don't like to travel with dirty clothes. I know some people do it, but I don't, okay? I wash my shit before I travel. And I think was preparing to fly back. And yo, this story can go on and on. I got stories for days. That's why I'm a writer. And so I'm like agreeing to wash her clothes. I'm washing my clothes, and I was like, okay, I'll wash your clothes too. I was like, okay, all right, let me wash the clothes. And he's like trying to tell me how to wash clothes. So I go in the laundromat, right? And I'm putting my clothes in there, and you know, I think I end up putting our clothes together or whatever. He had this jacket, right? Which I didn't think it was no special kind of fucking jacket. It was just it ain't no high end. It's a jacket, okay? He got his fucking jacket, and I put it in there. And, you know, I'm taking our clothes out the washing machine, put them in a dryer, right? And I'm putting this jacket in a general fucking clothes with my shit too, and we put them in a dryer. He's like, oh, no. That's not going to work. I'm telling you, it's not going to work. I'm like, well, listen, if it's not, take your shit, like, get your clothes, get your jacket, and wash it if it's not going to work. She's like, I don't like that passive shit, you know? Like, listen, if you feel, and he wouldn't say why it wasn't, it's not going to work. Like, listen, don't nag me, okay? Please don't nag. I ain't got time for that shit, right? I just put all that, he ain't say nothing. He let me put everything in there together. He just sat back as a passive ass little motherfucker and let me put all that shit in there together. I dry everything, and then we get the clothes out the dryer. We got home, you know, sorting them out, folding them up. He looks at his jacket. I feel like, nigga, you want this shit to happen, right? He looked at his jacket, like, on the lining of his pocket, right? It was like, what is that material? I don't know, but it started to like kind of shrivel up, right? And I'm just like, so he's like trying to blame me. He's like, see, I told you. I'm like, if you knew that, then why didn't you give your jacket special? Like, listen, if I know I have a particular garment, right? And I have a friend who's offering to wash and dry my clothes. But if I know that I have a particular garment that doesn't respond well to certain amounts of heat, I myself will remove that and say, no, you know, and this is why, because look at this, right? This is gonna, you know, burn, right? So he's like, oh, like, as if like I burned his jacket, yo. When I say, listen, I'm gonna give you the money for you. You wanna make a big deal? I'm gonna give you money for your motherfucking jacket, right? And I'm about to head the fuck out, right? And no, actually, before is this the same time? No, I ended up coming back, I think. Yeah, this is a different time. I was so fucking pissed. So I ended up going back to LA. My trip expired. And then I think I came back to visit him. I did. I came back to visit him. We were still trying to make it work, right? I brought him some souvenirs from LA. And yeah, it wasn't hitting. It just wasn't hitting. All dicks are not equal, yo. It wasn't hitting. And I'm just like, listen, I'm frustrated. You and your goddamn back pain and shit like that. And you land up in bed, you know. And listen, I feel like, okay, if you got the back, you got an issue with the back. You go get your shot. You should be good, right? Like, why is you still, I feel like he was using that shit as an excuse, like as a crutch, that whole back shit. Laying up in bed and shit all day. Not really wanting to go out. He wanted me home too. It's not that, okay, he just didn't want to go out because he was tired or back pain. Like, he didn't want me. Like, you know me, I want to be going out. And I still do that to this day. I'm single, but I like to get out. What the fuck? I'm a homebody. Yes. Most of the time, I'm at home. I'm here. But I like to plan in my calendar. I'll add different things in my calendar for myself to do. There's nothing wrong with that. It's mostly cultural events that I'm doing, right? You guys see the things I post. And so I'm just like, that's the kind of person I am. And I said that to him. I said that to guys when we're talking about interests. That's something that's brought up, right? In the beginning phases of dating. Like, oh, what do you like to do? So you knew this, right? You know I ain't no fucking staying at home 24/7, 365 type of person. His ass at home just being lethargic. Dick, sex, whack as fuck, right? So I'm just like, all right, well, you want to act like that? I'm about to bounce, right? And so this is the second time I came back. I was like, I can't do this. And so, you know, me, I'm like, listen, I feel like it's more frustrating to be with someone, right? with the penis. I'm talking about speaking from a female's perspective. With a man with the penis, a whole dick right here next to me, but I'm not even getting satisfied. I'm not gonna sit up here and be laying up there dissatisfied. I'm about to go and get fucking satisfied. That's what I did. Fuck that. So I'm like, listen, I said, I'm about to go. I was like, where you going? I was like, oh, I'm about to go to this other place. Because clearly it's not happening here. So I'm about to go to this other place, which was essentially with someone else. I ended up meeting this gynecologist guy. I cannot make this shit up. He was also African gynecologist. And I call him Anaconda. Dude had a fucking anaconda. And shit was right. I'm gonna leave it at that. I ain't gonna say no more, but shit was right, okay? And so looking back, I know one man said, well, damn, that's fucked up. This is a guy who flew you out from LA to New York and, you know, spent all this money. He spent some money. A couple $1,000s, okay. But did I ask him to? Did I expect him to? No, I did not. I did not have the expectation that he had to spend all that money on that fucking dinner. I did not. He chose to, you know. And with us, with me coming over here from LA, like spontaneously, like we didn't have to do that. We could have waited. We could have booked out, you know. He wanted to have me there, you know. So I just feel like it was just miscommunication. It was him with his back issues that affected the sex, the quality of the sex, you know, and that is what it is. Okay, I'm gonna close this video with one more story. I cannot make this up. Y'all may think I'm cruel, but I'm not. I feel like this is an issue because for so long, women, we serve in the needs of a man, you know, like we're there for what a man's need. Who gives a fuck about what we need? Who gives a fuck if we are sexually gratified? And I feel like you got to be a bold-ass man, a bold-ass motherfucker to fly a woman all the way out and not deliver in all aspects of the word. That's your fault. Hope you learned your lesson. I'm just saying, though. So, you guys watched my video, my previous video. I was saying that that was a video I made on the importance of embracing one's cultural identity through luxurious fashion. And I was talking about how I had met this fashion designer out in Los Angeles when I was living out there. And we kind of, I didn't say this part in the video that I made previously, but we kind of hit it off, right? We vibing and shit like that. And, yeah, we vibing. You know, of course, we hit it off and shit like that, right? But dude had a little ass fucking penis. Like, this shit was little, but I didn't let him know that, though, right? That was me back then sparing a man's feelings. I did not let him know. He had no clue. He didn't know, right? You know, if you asked him, he thought that he was delivering, okay? He thought that, yeah, like I got her kind of thing, right? And that's kind of the miscommunication I gave him in the bedroom. He just didn't know. So fast forward, you know, I moved back to New York in 2020, and he reaches out to me because he wants to visit. He's planning on visiting New York, I think, for some fashion-related stuff, right? He has his own fashion line that, you know, he actually supplies clothing for celebrities and different, like, events and things like that. So he was like, yeah, I'm going to be in New York, wanting to link up, right? This whole linking up, like, dudes gonna all be linking up shit like that. But if we cool, you know, see what to do. So something in me told me, like, nah. I get my moves like that, and I think for a long while I be like that, where I don't be cutting dudes no slack at all. I just be like, I ain't really feeling that shit like that, you know. And he, like I said, we cool, we friends and shit like that, right? We have been friends for a good little while. I met him, I think, back in 2019. Was it 2019 or 2018? 2019, one of those years. But anyway, so yeah, so like when I moved back to New York 2020, like he hit me up and he's just like, yeah, I'm coming to New York. And I was just like, So in his mind, he thinking like, okay, I can get an Airbnb. He was like, he like one of those dudes that try to like dictate, and he know that I like that shit too. So he's trying to like, okay, well you can, find an Airbnb and I'll go ahead and book it, right? I just like, something in me was like, put this motherfucker in his place, yo. Like, he ain't really deserving like that. Because sometimes I feel like dudes, they let that shit go to their head. And this is a mistake that a lot of women make by not setting the record straight with these men. They think like they packing down there. They think they got it like that, right? And it's misleading. You like boosting a man's ego up. He has this inflated fucking ego for no reason at all. And he definitely had that. He thought like he had it like that with me. Like, oh, like, yeah, go on Airbnb. I'm like, you can go on Airbnb. How about you go? And you book. You can find one. You book, right? If you plan on coming here, like, I don't have to have no parts in that, right? And we can still hang out. I would love your company. That's cool. Cause we vibe, right? He's a whole vibe. And so... he's like, all right. So then, I'm trying to remember, how did this even come up? Because I think, yeah, he was kind of feeling himself. Like, I like confident men. I like men who take charge. But I'm sensitive to men who try to be like, look, cocky. You know what I'm saying? Like, unnecessarily, like, you ain't even really got no grounds to be cocky like that. I don't like that shit. I don't. And so I kind of sensed that from him, like in his text message, a little bit too kind of cocky, kind of smelling his own ass. So I felt like I had to bring the nigga back down to size, right? I don't know how. I'm trying to remember the conversation. I don't remember the nuances of the conversation. I just remember like that was the vibe of the text messages of the conversation. And so then I just remember saying to him like, because he said something like, yeah, you remember, or something like that. He was like, yeah, kind of like, yeah, I know that he, what I'm saying, like what he got, I'm like, no, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. Tell me, what do I know? Because I don't know. He was like, yeah, you remember? No, I felt like if I did not tell the truth, if I was not truthful in that moment, I would have not only done him a disservice, but I would have been disavowing myself. Like, I had to be real. And it was in that moment, that I spoke truth to power. And I let him know. I said I wasn't satisfied. I don't know. And you wasn't hitting like that back in LA. It wasn't. And I think I shattered that man's whole self-esteem. I ain't heard from him since. I shattered his whole self-esteem. I say, you, I gave it to him raw. I was like, your dick little, man. I said, I know I didn't tell you back then, but, It ain't all that. I wish I could remember the exact conversation. I'm just giving y'all the gist of it, but I'm just like, it wasn't. I'm like, he was so in awe and so in disbelief. He was just like, damn. And I'm like, nobody didn't tell him? This is the thing, women, we don't. I say all this to say, women, we do not be telling men, And I made this whole statement on Facebook, like, we gotta let motherfuckers know. Let them know either way. We usually let a man know the shit hitting. But we often lie when it's not. Why? Why do we be sparing their feelings like that? Because when a man do what he do, he damn sure don't spare our fucking feelings. Don't give a fuck how that shit impact us when a man chooses to do what the hell he want to do. He don't give two fucks. how that impact us. But we be so sensitive and so caring and protective of their fucking feelings like that. Yo, when I know that my words, I can just feel the energy. And we were texting, but I can feel it. Like, yo, he was enraged. He's like, damn. I know he looked at me completely different, yo. And that's just how things have to be, you know. It's like, if you're not packing, you're not packing. If the motion ain't hitting right in the ocean, it's just not hitting right. You know, and I think it's important for people to know that. That's a form of honest communication. We talk about the importance of communication, but it's not just communication in relationships that help to sustain them. It's honest communication. It's authenticity in communication. You gotta keep that shit 100. Keep it real. What the fuck? It just is what it is. And about the concern as to having equity for all dick sizes or equality for all dick sizes, no. That's just the truth. It's not about us implementing equality. It's about what it is. It either is or it ain't, right? And the fact of the matter is that all dicks are not fucking equal. It's not the same. They don't have the same effect. We're talking about dick size here, but it's not just dick size or length or girth. It's about the emotion in the ocean. It's about your ability, your performance. Some men have it, and I think, you know, for the ones who appreciate sex, this is the thing, and I'm about to wrap this up, but there are men who truly do appreciate the art and science of sex. They got that shit down to a science, and they are very artistic with it. They appreciate that. And it shows in their performance with the woman. You know, and they make every effort to make sure that a woman is satisfied. That's their primary goal. See, where y'all motherfuckers got it fucked up, your primary goal is getting your dick wet, and that's it. That's your goal. You wonder why you can't keep a woman or keep a woman coming back? Because that is your goal, and you're not meeting her needs with that goal. You can do both. You can meet your needs and her needs, right? But if you attend to her needs first, your needs will be met. They go wrong and they don't have the discipline within themselves, you know, to delay their own gratification in exchange for pleasing her, right? Like it's a two-way street here. But they miss that, right? And so like even the guy who gave me this full body orgasm but came in like less than a minute. Like even him, like he hit me up, and I think it was like around the holidays recently. He hit me up. He was just like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I really had no words, because I got a sense that it's more than him just want to check in, right? He's like, "I'm just checking in." No, it's more than you just checking in. And granted, we go way back, man. Him like, yo, we go fucking back. He's looked out for me a lot in ways that I didn't even ask. You know, like when I was living in Los Angeles, and this was like when I was preparing to relocate back to New York, he would give me his keys, no expectations at all. Just give me the keys to his place. And while he's at work, I'm staying there, you know, prepare breakfast for me, like literally lay out the red carpet for me, just making a way, you know, being very accommodating. You know, and so we had established like this bond and this trust with each other. But somehow he think like, okay, we have this bond. And sometimes men think this, like, just because they've had sex with a woman, right? They've been intimate with the woman, that they are somehow entitled to continued intimacy. Just like, no, that shit cut off, right? Like, you ain't got what I want, you will never have what I want. It's just not hitting. Sorry, it's just not. Listen, you ain't about to play with me. There's nothing more frustrating than a woman being ready and opening up her portal for some bullshit. Okay, you're not about to do that with me. I just can't. Right? And honestly, I have been abstinent since January 2021. We're talking about a little over 2 years. And I'm happy with it. I think about sex from time to time, like intercourse with a man from time to time. But then it's just like, it's not something that I necessarily need. You know, for me, I would rather appreciate real intimacy with a man, you know, being able to see into his mind and vice versa, more so than intercourse, right? That's just a bonus if all else is there, you know. So there you have it. But you guys feel free to leave your comments below. Listen, I can make a whole book on my experiences relating to intimacy and my intimate relationships with men. I did write one autobiographical, fictional fantasy story called Dying to Submit. It's on my website at danielleleash.com. You guys can check that out. But yeah, that for you guys who haven't read it, y'all missing out. You know, definitely missing out. I would say to brace yourself before you do read it, because it does have that effect on you. You know, you're going to be titillated, to say the least. You're going to feel something, right? You're probably going to want to go do something after that, too, or while reading it, you know. It's a quick read, though. It's not the entire story. It's, you know, it's like an excerpt from the book. But, yeah, it just makes me reflect back on that experience that inspired that fictional fantasy story. Life is an amazing thing, I can say that. But I'm gonna catch you guys later. I'm thinking about like the people who are obviously will be watching this video, who are watching this video now. I'm thinking about you guys and knowing that, yeah, a lot of y'all are insufficient or inadequate physically speaking when it comes to being able to satisfy a woman sexually, you know. But you don't necessarily have to be, right? I think that people place their own limitations on themselves, you know. So life may happen to you in whatever way it happens to you, and then you put your own self in a box, you know. It doesn't have to be that way, right? I feel like, you know, going back to the story about the guy that I was dating with a back problem, like he doesn't have to put himself in that box of, you know, just lying up in bed and being helpless, you know, and making up excuses for himself. Like, you don't have to do that, you know. That's a choice. That's a choice, you know. There are many different ways to please a woman. I think that had he taken a chance to really look deep within myself, to really get to know me and understand me and what satisfies me, he would have learned that what really turns me on has nothing to do with penetration. It doesn't. It has really nothing to do with penetration. It's all about that psychological domination, you know. And I like bond. It's like, yo, it's the bondage for me. And when I think, I can count how many times I've been in bondage. Probably twice, only twice. Literally. Only 2 times. In my entire 39 years of living, I've been in bondage. So I think it boils down to really getting to know your partner and knowing what turns them on, ways that you can achieve that goal, you know. And of course, I like spankings too, right? Nothing to do with penetration. Dick ain't never gotta come out, yo. When you guys read the story, Dying to Submit, on my website, I began to take a look at my first experience with a true master, Dom. We never had sex. We never had intercourse, right? It is fictional, so you guys will see a twist to it, but we never had sex. Point blank, period. That goes a long way. That's enough said right there. Catch you guys and girls in the next one. I love this topic. Feel free, if you're watching this, which you're probably not, and if you are, I probably wouldn't know anyway because I won't be able to get your email response because I block you on Gmail. Like, you cannot email me, and you're not the only one. I block a few people because, listen, I'm not with it. I ain't got time for it. Disrespect, the silliness, you know, the inappropriateness, like, you know. So for the other people watching, you guys feel free, if you want, to send me your ideas via email, drop your comments below. Oh, and thumbs up this video. I've been saying that lately, and I see that you guys are actually responsive to that. Thumbs up this video. I'm going to catch you guys in the next one.